Hello on for 3.14 of what I'm thinking of playing builds pretty much for the new league that's starting tomorrow in about 3 hours, I think. 4 hours, whatever it is, time it starts at. So I'm gonna be starting the league late because I do work tomorrow and I work this weekend, so I'm not gonna be playing a whole lot. So I don't. So pretty much this build, I'm not gonna go through like I did last league and make like what I think people should play because there's so many people already create those videos out there. Like if you just type it in, you'll see non-stop people creating those videos. So I'm gonna do it a little different, and I'm gonna do it more what I'm gonna consider playing. I don't at this time I don't know what I'm playing yet. I don't know. I know which. I have an idea like which class I'm not gonna play, which I'm gonna play, which skills. There's about 6 skills right now I'm thinking about playing. I just don't know which one it's gonna be. If anyone has ideas, you're more than welcome to put a description below. I'll be on Discord all day today. If people want to talk on there, talk on here, whatever, just let me know. Pretty much the builds I have, some of these have video, some don't. Let's give a heads up in advance. So pretty much these are the sort of, so actually first do like this. So for me personally, I don't do Scion. I never care for the Scion skill tree. He's pretty much, I'm not a Scion player, so I'm not going to do a Scion build. I'm not a big on the Rangers. I don't know. I know that the new Pathfinder is good, which is there's one. They changed one of these. I don't know which one it was, but I know there's one of these that gets rid of corrupted blood now. Oh, it's that far away. Like I know this would have been interesting to play. Like, I know Pathfinder still are gonna take these two and whatever else. Like I know Pathfinders are extremely good. I know Deadeyes are good. It's just I'm not a huge fan of that playstyle, so I'm not gonna play them at league start. Shadow, I'm gonna pretty much say that Trap and Miners are extremely good this league. Pretty much any build that did not get nerfed is still untouched completely, does the same amount of damage, still very good build. Like Trappers and Miners I know are extremely good this league. I'm just not a big fan of their playstyle, so I'm gonna skip that one. Assassin I know is extremely good. I'm pretty sure Bladefast, Bladefall, Poison is still gonna be a very good option if you want to play that route. Even with 30% damage loss, you still should have no problem. BV probably could still has more work into it, but I'm not gonna do Shadow just because I've done it so many times, and why not just skip it this time? So we'll start on Witch actually. So Rich, pretty much I never got to this last league. I do want to try this eventually. And Necromancer. So pretty much there's options with Witch I'm gonna considering. Oculus, which I do have back here. I don't have a video on this one because Datmaz is the one who created this build. But like I know Ghastly has a version of this build, Datmaz, anyone out there has this build. Pretty much all the Profane Bloom cold builds with Vortex, what the hell was the skills? Yeah, the all the Vortex builds, all this stuff they use the cold stuff are gonna have extremely good time this league. All the Oculus stuff did not get touched. All of those builds are still going to be extremely playable, extremely good. It just depends really on if you want to play it. Oh, I did that. This is what I'm considering. I just don't know. Since this was an older version of his, he does go over, what gear to look for, expensive budgets, linking priorities, ascendancies, pantheons, bandits, how to search for jewels, what enchantments you want to get on helmet boots, good recipes early on. Like Datmaz went over leveling gear that's good. Datmaz went over really well on this because he usually does all his builds. I have 2 of his builds in here. Like if you want to go, you can even get headhunters on here. He doesn't use them on his builds though. But it goes over pretty well on all the gems. Items that he uses, a lot of these are all SSF usually friendly. Because he does a lot of this on SSF Hardcore. That's why it's a little bit higher numbers on here, like 12k ES. But these are all stuff you can eventually do. Like some of the stuff will be a little hard, but he goes over, I believe. Like a lot of these are dense fossil spams. Like Astromidas helmet and necklace is super easy to buy. Cyclone coil is extremely easy to buy. Watcher's Eye, this one could be tricky. Just depends on what this league's gonna be. Energy from Thin's easy. The jewels are doable. Man, it's an extremely doable build, and it's extremely strong. Numbers here are low. It just doesn't really show the best. Like, a cold bill in general is something I know is going to be good this league. I just don't know if I'm going to play it, because I never tested a cold bill, but I do know how to level witches very good with mods I've done. So I don't have a video of this one, just to give you a heads up. It's just more of a show you that one. The next one... Try and keep all the same. We'll do this. That's Guardian. Shoot. Inquisitioner, Guardian. Okay, that's actually the only one I have for that. Okay. So there are other options also I'm going to point out real fast. You can do a Necromancer build, like skeletons, possibly Carrion Golem again, if you know how to build it correctly in League Star with either one, Elements or Necromancer. It's just they're going to be a lot less damage, but they're probably still doable even after the quote-unquote nerf from last league. It was still a build that I cleared 40 Mavens with, did 100 Uber Labs with, no problem with Golems. So I'm pretty sure 11% damage loss should still be able to do damage pretty well. I'm just not going to League Star with it because I've done so many and I don't really want to do it again. Elementalist, like Enki's Arc build is probably going to be a very good build for this. Golems, even with these two, the Enki's Arc stuff. It's just other option. I just don't know if the Arc builds are going to be strong enough for bossing. And I do want to play a build that can do Cyrus and all that early on. So next on the list, we're going to go straight to Templar. Templar does have actually a lot of options when considering this league with these three. Pretty much, I'm considering doing the Grandpa guy. I've never played this one before. I think this does a lot of the Battle Mages stuff. I never played it before, but two of my builds I'm considering do use this one. We're not doing anything with this, and one build does consider the Guardian. So this one actually do have a little bit of information on. We'll do the Bladefast Bladefall first. So Big Ducks created, this is Bladefast Bladefall, the Inquisitioner version. I know you can do this with Inquisitioner, you can do it with, I think it's Chieftain, if I'm correct. Chieftain or Berserker, which one, you can do it with that one too. You can Bladefast Bladefall, even though it got the 30% nerf, I still feel like it's still a very good build. I did do a little bit of testing with this build last night, and it's about 2 hours to Act 4 with the first lab done. Well, you do need the first lab done, though, because let me see if I can find this real fast. Dominating Blow, this one. Full screen. So, like, if the build is pretty much is extremely fast, so you see how much damage. Even with less damage, it's still one shot and everything. He also went over to, like, if you with the 30% damage loss, he's still doing over 10 million damage. It's extremely tanky. It's a hybrid build. Even without the bottle, the Cinderwell, which you won't have on the League Start anyway, you can still get the rest of the gear very well. Still one-shot and everything very good. It's definitely a very build I'm considering just because I never played Bladefast Bladefall before. But it still seems like it should be good, even without the Explode nerf and all that. The Herald of Ash should hopefully carry it. It's something I'm not fully sure on if I want to chance it. It's more that's questionable just because it did get nerfed. It just depends on if it's a safe build or not to try. Because he has a boss in here. Yeah. Because like, even like this league, it does a lot of damage. Even like because you can see how fast the boss died there. If I have... Someone in my clan does play this build. Usually every League Star, and he does say even with the nerfs, his build should be playable. He does more of the poison version, but he's considering this version also this league. So that's why I'm considering trying this one out. It definitely, you do need to get the first lab to get the actual damage going. But it's easy like all the other times you play Templar. It's your... the Flame... Yeah, the Putrefying Flame, the Flame Totem, Firewall combo. It's the usual 3 combo that everyone uses leveling. But Big Ducks goes very well into like... He made trees, you know, like an early game tree that does actually work. This one I tested with. You know, your second tree, when you get your skill point, all the quests done. So like this one on the Act 10 mark. Your end game, you switch over to end game, you start getting like your Glorious Vanity, even with the, okay, this one's not converted yet, but with this being 15%, uses a little bit of ES, so instead of like 2k, you might have like around like 18 or so. But you still have 5k life. Intuitive Leap is the cheaper version, so you can just get like this kind of stuff. When you go up to the super end game, you can switch this over to Unnatural, which I'm gonna probably try to. If I did play this build, I'd probably try to farm this, get one of these again, like I did last league. Like I think I got this like on day 3 last league. You know, it's pretty much like converting all your damage to fire. your Watcher's Eye, which you don't even need right away, your damage. It's a very good build overall. I mean, the Cluster Jewel with the... so this is your Leech and more damage. Seal Game frequencies. I didn't look at this stuff, actually. More damage, life. Alchemist Genius when you use a Flask. Regenerate. Deal more damage during Flask. Herald damage. Your usual Herald stuff. More damage. It's just stacking damage. Your Nightmare you need is super cheap also, being a blue, purple, and red. I mean, it's definitely a very cheaper build to play. It's extremely tanky too when you start getting up to like this part of the version. But like he even goes through too. Like your weapon you want to get, I think this is the one that drops from one of the Elder bosses. This one is just what boosts your damage like crazy amount when you switch over to this route. Like, you know, like another foil that you can get. It's going to be a pain in the ass to craft this one this league, but it's doable. For more to face damage, extra fire. Crown of the Inward Eye is the Shaper drop, which is very easy to get. They drop a lot from him, and they're also usually not that expensive. Your Astroplite, these are going to be a lot harder this league to get. You're not going to get 30% quality all white again like we did every league. But you definitely don't need this one early on. You can definitely, I think he, on his video, he does this with like a tabular with a one link. And he actually chucks everything. But like, yeah. Taking that DPS number and losing only, let's just say 30% damage loss. So this is what, 190, 123, 123, let's say, times 0.3. So this is about 57 million damage. So you're still doing over 100 million damage with this build. That's why I think this build's extremely good. This weapon, you can see the weapon alone brings in so much damage. From this regular double foil versus non. It's about a huge damage. But this is like the best in slot. Yeah. And also because your dex too. Your dex is going to be usually your problem. Like your Inward Eye. Like your Circle of Anguish. I mean, these are super... These are going to cost about 3x, but they're still doable to get if you want to get the correct one. Like your Cinderella Bottle, yeah, those are pain in the ass to get, but they're doable. Like a lot of stuff in general, like this, just getting resistance up. You can easily put Headhunter on this build. I mean, there's a lot of options to go with this, and I think this build's going to be extremely strong, especially with this league being something you want to survive 10 waves. This could be a good defensive build, just to be on the safe side, but he goes over... You know, like what you want to do from level 127. And if 28 through end game, we want to just focus on this. When you get to end game, you just go through all these. Your utilities, your auras, your movement skills. Like there's so many options with this build. I do think this is a very good league start friendly build to consider. So let's not talk about that build. So the next Inquisitioner build I'm considering is also another Battle Mage. This is the one that Datmos did also. I didn't do anything there. This is the Grandpa Cast on Crit build. So Cast on Crit, I did the Assassin one last league and it was by far a crazy build. Did everything no problem. This build is 10k ES, so it's extremely tanky. I have on here pretty much, like this is him playing, this was the endgame version, but you can see how easily he's going through all the builds. No problem whatsoever, just blasting through everything. There's no... Build's extremely good. It does take time to get gearing, but the build is all you do. He does this on here. I know there's a Cyrus he destroys, bossing, Elder maps. He did 100% Delirium maps with this build. See if I can find a Cyrus fight real fast. Like, even doing Cyrus on here is no problem whatsoever. The amount of damage this build does. This is sort of like how the Assassin version was. It's just this one's a lot easier to gear. Because it gives you your crit damage really quick. You have a lot more defensive layer. It's a lot probably stronger, but you can see how fast Cyrus' health is just going down up here. How fast that virus is moving down so fast. So I definitely think this is... Pause you. It's definitely a good option to play. Oh, that's not it. Is it? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. Because pretty much early on, like, he goes through to, like, you know, same as the last build. Early on, when you're doing a Storm before you go Cast on Crit. When you switch over to Cast on Crit, when you get your Corpsey, like, all in the endgame version, like, he goes through all of that very well, which is really nice. huge note section again, what to look for, your cluster jewels, how to craft each weapon, because we don't have harvest anymore, because he does have ores in here, so like dense fossil spamming is a lot of options. Help Alera, because he's doing hardcore, you don't have to. And like Soul Self-Found, you can skip Alera and just go 2 skill points. But like pretty much like this build's straightforward. It's, you know, your max block, so you have max both blocks. Fizz damage reduction 30%, arm from skill tree 64%, 5k armor, 45 evasion, 10k ES. I mean, extremely strong build overall, I'm not gonna lie. So that's why I'm considering this build also, because like cast on crit's a lot of fun. It's just you like, you know, like it's all skill. You do run a lot of jewels in this build though, and you can still craft jewels from harvest, which is pretty easy, I believe. It's just that getting all amount of crit on these jewels is going to be horrible. The fact there's so many on the skill tree. But it's like you need Sadist and Cold Core times 3, which is not going to be cheap. That one. Another jewel. Guess what again? Another jewel. When there's your Storm Rider and Cold Conduction. A one Frozen Trail. Like if you league start this, you just... Frozen Trail is super easy. It's a free item. You know, your split personality. These are always cheap every league. Strength and ES just to get more ES and strength out of it. Watcher's Eye. I mean, there's... The build's not the easiest to make because you do need Corpsey. And in Corpsey, you can't easily get on day 1 or 2 at the latest. It's just once you get Corpsey, then your build starts taking off. But you can't switch to Cast on Crit without Corpsey. Like Shaper Touch Gloves, super cheap. Astromidas, super cheap. Roommaze is cheap. I mean, it's easy to get like the stuff going. Like you can get the Cast on Crit, you can get the Shaper's Touch, you can get the Astromidas all on day 1, no problem. And then getting Tranquility on it is going to be a little bit expensive because it does require 2 gold, but it's a couple days in, you don't have to really worry about that. So that's, I'm trying to go through this a bit quicker because I realize how much time this video is going to be. So that's pretty much, I mean, the build's extremely good. It's a 4 million DPS, cast on crit. It's going to wreck everything, no question whatsoever. Now the last one I have is the Guardian version. This is a Dominating Blow by Vaughn, who absolutely, here we go. So Dominating Blow did not get touched at all this league, and it absolutely destroys Dra. It destroys all bosses. Doesn't Awakener 5 though, so these can't really look at these too much, but it's still, even being Awakener 5, is blasting. This was his league start he did. He has 2 versions of this. He has one he did before he did league, and this is the one he actually did at the end of the league, where he switched over builds. But you can see like it's actually destroying everything. No problem whatsoever in maps. T15 rituals, no problem. You just run around. Let your minions kill everything while you just stay alive. Dominating Blow is, I played a couple times, different versions, is extremely strong. He did mention if you're going to play this build though, you want to get the Bright Hard Weapon, I think it's called something like that, with that little glowing axe thing. And it makes your leveling process a lot easier. Like 100% Delirium maps, no problem. And this is on a stupid cheap budget. Chess Piece is almost as Skin of the Lords. I mean, it's super cheap. But you can see like right away, like no problem whatsoever going through everything. That's why Dominating Blow, I believe, is also a potential of being an extremely long good league start with 50k armor, 8k ES, and 18 million damage build. So pretty much, it's the same thing like all his Vaughn's videos. You want to, this one doesn't really have a leveling version because this was his endgame version, but like what I would probably do is I would go this way for damage, do your Flame Totem combo. Go this way, get these 2. Then once you get these, then go down. You can then start this way and just save your skill points. You have to respect all this later. You know, then get your minion stuff and then start building the skill tree. Because Dominating Blow won't take off until level 28, I believe, until you get it. And then once you get the multi-strike and melee splash, melee fizz, it gets a lot better. Because pretty much like Blue Nightmare, yes, this is going to be probably like a day 4 or so items, so you're not going to have this right away for more block. So you just lose some block with this. See, you lose... Yeah, you lose a little bit of spell block, that's all really. You're not going to... You get Healthy Mind, it's real easy to get, especially because you don't need the RR on it. The MMR, just ignore that. It doesn't even need it at all. Replica Pure Talent. These are always cheap. You don't need to get this. And you won't get this applied until later anyway because it's a heist item. The skill tree is actually very interesting. It's just Call to Slaughter. Renewal is now a 4% chance, I believe, to do double damage. Which doesn't matter. And a little bit of Rotten Claws. Very easy cluster to get. These are usually about 2x pretty much, 2-3x. But they're once you get, all you need is one for this build. And nice thing too is like this one right here. All you really need is a medium cluster with just a uncompromising on there, and that's it. And this is another uncompromising on your small, just to reduce the mana reserve termination, which is the one that gives you all the armor. Another one up on top, a Blessed Rebirth and Renewal. So about 8% chance to double damage for minions now instead of 10. Build's extremely. I mean, the funny part about this too is when you look at the gear. It's, you know, a deal double damage, multi-modded. Yes, you do lose socketed gems are a little bit slower now, but it's still very doable. An Angus Aura, these are like one chaos item, if that. Memory Vault, no one plays this. Getting Dominated Blow on it's going to be a little bit harder, but with this league it should be a little bit nicer to do. Because of the fact you see 3 now. A Skin of the Loyal, I mean, pretty much just for some extra damage. It's Skin of the Loyal definitely can be. You can do Tabula until you get Skin of the Loyal. Then you can upgrade it from there to whatever armor based stuff. Sorcerer's Gloves. Though you do want the strike skills to have additional 1 nearby enemy. That's gonna be probably the most important stat to look for. And after that, just ES and resistance. Rainbow Stride. These are not worth anything. Stone. So this amulet's also like an amulet that drops nonstop. Maybe worth an alchemy orb. But now with this one, with the changes this league, it's a lot easier to get your anointment on it. Because you can just pick these up, vow them until you get your pride increased aura effect. And then anoint it after that. With doing the new corrupted oil. Which is what I would do. You know, it's like 2 rings with just strength decks on them. And minion damage, resistance. Torment Recreation. This is a belt you probably won't get until late game. Like maybe the first week or so when people start farming these belts. But belt overall just gives you a massive damage boost. Withering Jar, this is pretty much what you use only for bossing. Because you put your, you summon the Withering Jar, put your worms out, attack your worms, create your dominating blow, and then you attack, then they attack boss. Every time you hit the boss, you also have you also spawn them too. So that's the start, helps you start on the maps. I mean, it's extremely cheap gear. I mean, this is probably, if you want a super cheap build to play, if you want to build that's sort of like a golem build, but it's not full golem, so you actually interact a little bit more, you definitely go this route. And like I said before, you get the Spectre, a weapon like this, just get the Brightheart, I think it's called. It's that glowing axe, gold axe thing that is not worth anything. It just gives you more attack speed, I believe. Because attack speed does make this build a lot nicer. But you can see like 90% fizz damage reduction, 100%, 27% movement speed, 52k armor. It's extreme 7k ES. Like, it's an extremely tanky build. And it's not going to probably die. And which is nice about this league is if your build like this doesn't really die, it could be a very good build to play. It just depends on getting the build going. It's a little bit rough. Because like, you have to wait for something to spawn, then attack. So it's definitely a little bit rougher to play. But I think the build's extremely good, especially when you start switching over to like the end game version. Leveling is going to be a pain, but when you hit the end game version, this build will be amazing. So that's all for my these versions. So I don't have a build on the Marauder stuff, but the only really Marauder thing I was considering is if I wanted to be funny, I could do MBXs. It's a little bit more mix of like MBXs with the person who's in first place with Juggernaut. Is do an accuracy stacker, Siege Ballista starting with. Just because Siege Ballista on its own will absolutely wipe out the whole entire game. No problem whatsoever. You put your Siege Ballistas on, run around, but it's not cheap to get it going at all. Especially with this league with the bow changes. I don't know if it loses a lot of damage or not, because I don't know if Siege Ballista counts as a bow skill since it's from a totem. I didn't really look at it. So it'll be interesting to see how it changes, but I don't think it's going to be a good league start just because all Wanderer builds on League are going to be stupid expensive. So the last thing I'm is a duelist. I do have one. This is the one that actually I played last League. I don't know what I even do in there. This was my lacerate bleed build I played. This is one I switched to on day 4 and 5 when I did my first Cyrus. So I'm not gonna touch the new skills just because in the past when they released new skills like Crackle Lancer, it was absolutely horrible. Other skills were causing crashes, the computers. I mean, it's just new skills I stay away from on the first couple days just in case there's problems with it. I just don't want to chance it. So the other option is going bleed for me. I can do bleed lacerate again, just going straight bleed from the beginning, just so I can speed up my process. Because going impale in the beginning was absolute trash. So like if I went bleed, the build's still very doable. Like getting a natural is doable. This cluster jewel section that probably would be skipped into completely, which is a lot of damage loss. But I think it's still very doable. Maybe this one, I don't know what I did. So it's pretty much, I mean, they did nerf the bleed stuff a little bit though, with the fact that the weapon I have in here, you can't make this weapon anymore. The fact that the 60% chance of bleeding if like deal 100% more damage is gone now, so that doesn't really exist anymore. So we don't really know how much it's going to affect the bleed builds overall. So that's the only reason I don't know if I really want to go bleed, just because it's hard to say with that weapon change. Does it hurt the build a lot, a little bit? I really don't know, because it doesn't work like that, but it's just hard to tell. But I think bleed skills overall should still be doable. Bleed bow, bleed lacerate, bleed blah 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 blah. Earthquake, even with the new changes to Val Earthquake. Ground slam, all that kind of stuff should still be good. I just don't know if I want to chance a bleed build off the beginning, just because I don't know if it's me safe enough with the amount of damage without really knowing. Like Red Nightmare, it takes a couple days to get, but overall I think the bleed build should be doable for anyone doing it. Like this build was really nice when I played it. The only video I have about this one is my Cyrus fight, so I don't really have anything else from this fight. God, my quality's trash. So pretty much like the build, like on face taking everything from Cyrus. This was not the a min-max more version. This was a pretty shitty version I'm playing with my gear. But like this is pretty much like Cyrus. I can tank Cyrus. I can tank a lot of the stuff in the game with this build. Build's extremely slow though, I'm not gonna lie. It definitely needs a lot to get going, which is the only bad part about the build. This was my version on League Star, so this wasn't my when I revisited this build later in the league when I actually upgraded a little bit better. This is more of my earlier version of it. But pretty much like the build, like you can take everything, it's just you have to build a build correctly, and with this league it's hard to say is that gonna work or not. It's just very difficult to say. That's what I'm a little bit worried about. So pretty much, those are my choices I'm looking at. I think though, to be honest, looking at these options, I think we're going to end up doing a, we're probably going to League Star as Templar. That's what I'm pretty much like 90% sure on. It's either going to be the Blade Flash Bladefall or the DB, I think. I think I'm going to skip Cast on Crit early on just because I don't have a whole lot of time to play with me working this weekend and all that, so I think that's going to be a little harder build to play because Corpses, if you don't get them early on, shoot up price very quickly. So I think for me, it's going to be either I'm going Dominate and Blow or I'm going to go Blade Flash Bladefall. It's just one got nerfed, but does stupid damage. One didn't get nerfed, but it's stupid cheap. It's just, I don't know which way to go. If anyone has ideas, please feel free to put them in the description below. I'll be on my Discord all day today while I'm getting my arm tattoo for a couple hours. So I have nothing to do. So if anyone wants to talk on Discord, my Discord should be the same name as on here, the Butthead898. I don't know if you need the hashtag or not. If you can't find me and you do need a hashtag, please send me a message, put a comment on here, and I'll definitely give you the hashtag out. I just don't know because I don't really use Discord a whole lot. So I'll be on Discord though all day today. If you want to talk about build ideas, if people have different options, what they want to share, I'm more than welcome to talk about builds on there all day. If people want, just let me know. So also, if anyone's played Inquisition play fast, let me know how it is, or Dominate and Blow. I just haven't really tried them out lately, but I think these are going to be the two options I'm looking at league starting tomorrow. I probably won't make my decision though until I get home from work, because while I'm at work, I'll be watching like MBX and all that, like going through the league mechanics, seeing how it feels. Like that's going to be I'm worried about too. Is I want to play a build that can, you know, get through the map, get to the maps, get Awakener 8 done, start farming up all the stuff, do the first 5 at least, double or nothings, ultimatums. Try to get to the 10-1 going. Like, I want to play a build that at least can run for a while. Because I don't want to switch builds every week or every couple days, like how this week was in the beginning. So I found a build I liked because it was a mess. But I think these are going to be my 2 options I'm looking at first. Then I might jump over, I might try the accuracy stacker later in the league when we get a lot of money. Or we might just switch over to like the cold Oculus. Might try the cast on crit Templar again building. There's a lot of options to go with, but for me, I'm not sure yet. I might put out a video tomorrow morning of what build I do decide, but I don't think there's going to be one, to be honest with you. Just because I probably won't make my decision until about 8 o'clock at tomorrow night when I get home from work and start getting like the loot filters downloaded, all that stuff installed. So that's going to take, that's probably when I'll make my decision. Also, I have another person, I think, from my clans playing this build. And he can let me know how it feels early on. Like, if he says the build sucks, damage is really bad, I'm going to say screw that, and we're going to go straight to this. But if anyone's... I'll put all the POBs in the description below with their videos going attached to it. I hope everyone liked the video. If you like, subscribe down below. Come follow me on Twitch. I hope everyone has a really good league start tomorrow. And I'm going to upload this video right away so that people can get to us, and I got to leave in about 20 minutes. So if everyone liked the video, and hope to see you on the next one.